Hello, I am looking for a lodger in my house. I have had a long and interesting life and have now chosen Brighton as a location for my retirement. Among the many things I have done in my life is to spend 3 years alone on St. Lawrence Island. These were perhaps the most intense and fascinating years of my life, and I was kept in companionship with a walrus, whom I named Gregory. Never have I had such a fulfilling friendship with anyone, human or otherwise, and upon leaving the island I was heartbroken for months. I now find myself in a large house overlooking Queen's Park and am keen to get a lodger. This is a position I'm prepared to offer for free, e.g. no rent payable, on the fulfilment of some conditions. I have, over the last few months, been constructing a realistic walrus costume, which should fit most people of average proportions and allow for full and easy movement in character. To take on the position as my lodger, you must be prepared to wear the walrus suit for approximately 2 hours each day. In practice, this is not 2 hours every day. I merely state it here so you are able to have a clear idea of the workload. Whilst in the walrus costume, you must be a walrus. There must be no speaking in a human voice, and any communication must entail making utterances in the voice of a walrus. I believe there are recordings available on the web. To me, this voice is the most natural thing I have ever heard. Other duties will involve catching and eating the fish and crabs that I will occasionally throw to you whilst you are being the walrus. With the exception of this, you'll be free to do whatever you choose, and will have a spacious double room, complete run of the house, with the exception of my bedroom and my workshop, and use all facilities within. I'm a considerate person to share a house with, and other than playing the accordion, my tastes are easy to accommodate. Due to the nature of this position, I will need to audition all applicants before agreeing to take the chosen candidate on as a lodger. Please contact me if you have any questions. Now, this was a post written around 2013 by a gentleman by the name of Chris Parkinson, and it caught the eye of a particular director who was doing a podcast, as he often did, called Smodcast, and a particular episode in the 260 range, if I recall correctly, whereby he noticed this, referenced it, and discussed like the silliness of it, floating some interesting scenes that could happen, and said to his audience, look, I can make this a film if you really want. If you really would like me to make this into an actual Hollywood movie, I will do it. Either give me the hashtag of Walrus Yes or Walrus No if you don't want it, and we will make the magic happen if we get enough. Apparently, there was a practically unanimous Walrus Yes call. One person apparently did say Walrus No, but he said, I'm actually a Walrus Yes. This is just for the democratic process to look like it's being upheld here. And this story is fascinating, because this gave us the loved and hated in equal measure film Tusk, with Justin Long, Haley Joel Osment, Genesis Rodriguez, and a great performance by Michael Parks, and of course directed by Kevin Smith, as I say. But this was about around 5 years ago that this was made and released, and it was rather lukewarm, the reception. People did not know what to make of it. They thought, what the heck am I watching? Even those that had wanted it were like, why did I make this happen? But over the years it has found its following. Like a lot of strange and unusual films, the release on home media gained a traction that just was not possible as a mainstream theatrical release. And I'm so glad it did. I mean, I'd heard all the stories about it and I was very wary of watching it, but I am a big Kevin Smith fan. Whilst I haven't seen some of the films, this was one that was weird enough that I was intrigued. This is the thing that pulled him out of retirement. He'd been out of action for around 3 years, I believe, feeling that I'm done, I'm burned out, haven't got the passion anymore. And this is the thing that pulled him out of it. And his wife, Jennifer Schwalbeck, who you will know if you've seen his films, particularly she is in Clerks 2 in a rather featured role. But she was supportive all the way. There's a poster that she mocked up that literally says, I support you in this, you can do it, get back on the horse kind of thing. And like I say, now it's had time for the dust to settle. It's got its place, and I'm kind of happy to say that I'm on the Walrus Yes camp now. I really enjoyed it for what it is. Whilst it's a ridiculous premise, which was found out later on, Chris Parkinson was actually a hoaxer. This was entirely made up. He'd created this story from scratch, which, credit to his genius there and his sort of imagination. He'd just done it as a laugh. This is why, though, the character played by Justin Long is called Wallace Brighton, because that's where the story originated. It's a little nod. And in fact, Chris Parkinson did go to the set one day to see behind the scenes, which is really nice. You know, it's Hollywood thanking the people who made it happen. You don't see it all over the place, but if there's one thing I know about Kevin Smith, as well as being a big stoner, he is quite a chill dude, and you know, he's very respectful to those who deserve it. And frankly, someone giving him the idea for a film, I think, is the ultimate respect that you need to give. But this could have been so wrong, but the fact that, you know, Justin Long gives such a great performance, he's convincing as a man whose psyche is snapped. He's the only one who makes it through the whole walrusing process, I guess. But you then have Michael Parks, who's playing a completely insane kind of hermit, who apparently is a serial killer of some description. He goes under different identities and captures these poor people in Canada. But he plays it so well, he's got this deep menace to him. And this is testament to Michael Parks. A lot of people, you know, do see him just as a bit character actor. You know, a lot in sort of Rodriguez and Tarantino films he crops up a lot in, and things like that. You know, he's very much just a great character actor who people just put in weird places all over the pot, you know, all over the shop. But Kevin Smith has worked with him a number of times, and you know, it's sad that we're not going to see any new material with Michael Parks in anymore, because whatever role he has, I think Kevin Smith said similar, really, and I'm kind of going to echo what he said. He just eats that scene. You are gripped and riveted. And I think it's testament again to Justin Long's skill in this film that it doesn't overshadow him. He's able to play on a level playing field with Michael Parks in a walrus suit. It's ridiculous, but it embraces the ridiculousness. And I think if it tried to play it too serious and didn't really acknowledge just how weird this whole thing is, it would have fallen flat. But part of that weirdness, part of that sort of, I don't know, that way to lubricate us into accepting the ridiculousness of this premise, was a great performance by an otherwise unknown actor. He's not been in much, Guy Lapointe. He's great in this. He's kind of playing himself, but like as a detective, it seems. This guy credited as Guy Lapointe, who, of course, we all know, if we've seen it, is in fact Johnny Depp. He was going under a sort of pseudonym, if you will, in this, but because his character was revealed in Yoga Hosers, which I'm not going to do a video of, so I don't mind incorporating a bit of that in this. It was clear that, you know, yes, it's Johnny Depp. It was acknowledged at that point. You know, so that was a really interesting characterization. It wasn't Captain Jack again, which is great. You know, for Johnny Depp to not just draw on that as a character, but actually play something that is unique and very much a kind of French Canadian who's kind of lost it a bit himself. This is a film about people losing their mind. You know, whilst I do like to analyse films and put deeper meanings, I don't think there is a deeper meaning to this. I think it is kind of just a weird film. You know, it is part of a supposed trilogy. We're still waiting for the third instalment, apparently Moose Jaws, which, as it sounds, is Jaws but with moose. Because this is a trilogy of Canadian-based horror, so, you know, we're trying to incorporate Canadian things. And what's more Canadian than moose? But this is, you know, such a weird film, and like I say, if it is about anything, it is about the fragile nature of our minds, how easily they can snap. People who seem otherwise maybe just a little eccentric can be actually murderers. People who seem like they've got it all together can be hiding some deep, dark psychological flaw. People who seem flawed on the outside might be actually genius. And people who are pushed to breaking point may believe they're a walrus for the most part. I mean, we see in the end scene, there is an air of humanity still in him, because, as Michael Parks says, walruses never cry! But even at the end we see a tear shed, we still know that Wally's in there. And that's really kind of touching, really. You know, this guy is now having to live out his days in this weird sort of animal sanctuary. Not really human, not really animal. And it's clearly not an existence he wants to have, but I don't think he has the fortitude to drown himself or anything like that in his little pond and things like that. So he just tries to carry on. You know, and his friend and I suppose ex-girlfriend, really, as it would be. I don't think there's a relationship carrying on there. I don't want to know how that would work. You know, still go and see him, give him a fish, of course. And like I say, this is a film that I know a lot of people were very confused, and it was probably almost going to be Kevin Smith coming out of retirement to finish his career properly, put an actual nuclear option to his career at the end. But he's come out of it. You know, we're at the time of me recording this, I think is a day that the Reboot Roadshow, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, is actually going out and about. So, you know, and I believe in a couple of days from the recording as well, there'll be the second one. By the time you see this, those will have happened. So, obviously, his career's doing fine, and, you know, he's got, obviously, all his other work, the Jay and Silent Bob tours, and Hollywood Babylon, and the podcast, and everything like that. So, this didn't kill the man and the career. Heck, even a heart attack a few years after this didn't. So, this is a man who will keep going, and whilst some people hate him, I respect the guy on a human level, and I like much of his work, if not all of it. Like I say, I'm not talking about Yoga Hosers, because that film it existed, but I wouldn't say it warrants a video of any description. I mean, if you really want me to talk about it, I can, but please don't make me. But that's all I think I want to say about Tusk. It's a flawed film, but a fun film, and it's what it says on the tin. Can't ask for more than that. But thank you very much for joining me this week, as always, and until next time, take care.